It seems important to me tonight that we deal with mystery properly. And anybody who can explain mystery away is either brilliant or a fool. And tonight, we touch a most mysterious night. And I'd like to put my hands, if I could, on what I think are three areas of mystery. The first being rather traditional and maybe even easy to understand with faith. The second being a little more difficult and yet, I think, terribly important. And I think the trickiest of all is the third area, but mystery indeed. And the first area has to do with reading the signs properly. A maiden and a child, star, a manger, and shepherd. And they all point to a child who had a heart so big that he was able to connect God and man and find the connections that were so deep that death couldn't break them. He had a heart so filled with love that he forgave people and united them to each other and to his Father. This man was called the Prince of Peace. And he carried an integrity about him. He stood tall, loving God and loving his neighbor. And he knew what justice meant, because he was a just man. And that's the size of heart he carried. And tonight, we come with our faith and we say, do you believe that? Do you really believe that about the man Jesus, whose birth we tell again tonight? Do you believe that the mystery of this man, that he was a man of peace, he was a man of justice, and he carried integrity? Can you see that? We move to the second part of my homily. All during Advent we've prayed that we would see with new eyes. And we suggested that the city is beyond the walls, and this is our town gathering, our gathering square. Is there anybody here that you've seen who carries God's Spirit within them? Anybody you know whose heart is big and they love well and they're just, and they too stand with integrity, and there's a peace about them that's of God? Probably the one you got a Christmas card from, or if you have little kids you play Santa Claus for, just loving them, or the one that you gave a gift to because they're that kind of person. Perhaps they're the one you see come out faithfully to a singing practice, or helping the neighbor next door, or who's always ready with a helping hand. Have you seen that kind of person? Because that's the kind of person we're celebrating tonight. That God's Spirit is so big and so rich that he puts his Spirit in men and women today, so that peace is in our city. And we have people carrying integrity. And justice isn't someplace else, it's here. You might have a name on your mind. Perhaps it's Jim, or is it Jack, or Mary? Who is it that carries that for you? And you've seen it with your own eyes. And you can tell others about it if you'd have courage to. The third area of the homily that's, to my mind, the most mysterious of all. Would you believe that God has put his Spirit in your heart? And he asks each person here to be a man or woman of peace, because that's God's gift. And he asks me to be just, and you too, because justice is the gift that God puts in the heart of men and women, like mine and yours. And he asks you and me, each of us, by name, to stand with integrity, to be the men and women of this city. And the gifts we carry are God's gifts. And would you believe that the kind of spirit he gives is so big that there's enough for everybody? That we really are united and peaceful. And when we speak to each other at this time of year, it's the very mystery, God's mystery, alive in our hearts, that's able to look at another person and the spirits connect. Unity happens. And we say such things like Merry Christmas, meaning a recognition of peace and joy, integrity and justice in our day. I think this is a great mystery if I just remember it. Imagine me walking around like that. And you, and you, and you. That's God's gift. And tonight I think it's important that we remember all three, and perhaps pray to see the heart of a Christ child, to see the heart of our neighbor, and most difficult of all, to see our own heart, that's where God's Spirit dwells. And it would seem to me terribly important that at this time we sing God's praises, because it's God's gift. And I think we should join together, again as one people, carrying God's gift in singing the Gloria. Please stand.